I believe. This is my new t-shirt. Humans do not require a God to be moral. Religion divides more than it unites. It's untrue that atheists believe in nothing. It does not take more faith to be an atheist. Atheists do not deny God because they wish to be gods. Religion and science are incompatible. Complexity does not equal design. The scientific method trumps primitive, anonymous texts. The scriptures are ridiculous, offensive, and demonstrably false. One doesn't require an afterlife to have a meaningful life. Threats of eternal hellfire betray a weak argument. Schools should be filled with facts, not fanatics. Your personal experience does not prove God. An inability to disprove God does not prove God. Not knowing what caused the Big Bang does not prove God. And if you believe in any gods, the burden of proof is on you. This is my new t-shirt, and it's from The Thinking Atheist. Yes, thethinkingatheist.com. This is my third. I have 3 shirts from these guys now. Very cool. Okay, so here's me. This is, the day after my birthday. So now I'm officially 50 and I'm really frickin' old. Of course, I've had lots of people write me saying, oh, you think you're old? Oh my God. Well, okay, forget that. But yes, I got my hair done this morning, so it's shorter, which makes my head look even more huge. No, but on the subject of believing and what I believe to be the detrimental effects of religion in the world. People are like, well, why you pick on religion? Why are you picking on people who believe? It's like, it doesn't hurt anybody. No. I look around and I see a lot of harm caused by religion. You look at a society like the one in Iran or some of the Middle Eastern countries. The Islam religion is also an offshoot of Judaism, just like Christianity. And if you look at the people, Muslims, and I think they actually live more according to their scripture than do Christians. And their scripture, just like the Bible, the Quran portrays women as being under men. And in that culture, there are people who are fanatical about it. They take it completely literally, and they want to put women in this tight little box and say you can't be anything else except what it says in our holy book. Like that poor girl that got shot because she wants to go to school and she thinks women should go to school. That kind of thing. Well, it's interesting when you take the our culture here in America, which is a lot more forward-thinking. And, you start getting the religious fanatics starting to intermingle into our government. Look what happens. Look what kind of proposals are put out, about how women, well, maybe we should let women have abortions if they're raped. But it has to be legitimate rape, okay? There's a verse in the Bible that says if a woman doesn't cry out enough, while she's being raped, something about that in the Bible. I'm pretty sure it's in the Bible where it's like, if she's raped in the city, she has to cry out, or maybe it's the Quran. This is where I'm a little confused because I've been reading a lot about verses in holy books that aren't so pro women, and women getting stoned to death after they're raped because they didn't cry out while they were being raped. So maybe they enjoyed it, so they should be stoned to death. Anyway, I feel like when you intermix religion, any of the Abrahamic religions, in with your politics, you're going to end up, you're going to see a rise of this kind of mentality where we're supposed to adhere to laws that are more to do with the Bible than common sense. A woman who gets raped should have to bear a constant physical reminder of her trauma and her violation for 9 months because the baby inside her can't help it that it was conceived by rape. So you shouldn't take away its life just because the woman is going to be continuously traumatized for 9 months having this in her body, this constant reminder of how she was violated. No, that should... I just can't believe that that's even a thought on anybody's mind, that that a woman should be put through that after rape. But the other thing is, if a woman gets pregnant and she's doesn't want to have a baby, isn't it a violation to tell her, well, it's too bad, but you're going to have the baby, whether you want it or not? I think that's a violation too. But anyway, that's the whole thing. I think that's harm caused by religion. When religion gets too much in the government, you start seeing people's rights being taken away, or one group of people sitting back, who should we give rights to, and who should we take rights away from, and what do we think is morally correct, and should we punish people if they go against what we think is morally correct? Yeah, so that's one thing I think is a harm caused by religion. It fucks up the government of nations when religion gets involved. Another thing, the idea that the planet is disposable. Oh, it doesn't really matter if we just continue to live the way we have, and the whole global warming thing, or the climate change thing, or the fact that the rainforests are being obliterated, and all these species of... My arm is shaking. Hang on. When you get older, and now I'm officially 50, so I'm really old. The old muscles don't work like they used to. It's just, I have tendonitis in my wrist. So anyway, it's like, okay, it's really sad that the lions are becoming more and more endangered, and that Siberian tigers are almost gone, and that frogs and bees are endangered, and all these different species of animals, polar bears, animals that, when I was a kid, they weren't endangered, or they certainly weren't nearly as close to the brink as they are now. And yet, we're still, I guess there's more, I had someone tell me that there's more wild habitat, unspoiled wild habitat in the United States than there is in Africa. That blows my mind. When I grew up seeing these Africa and the savannah, and oh my gosh, it was like just miles and miles and miles and miles of untouched, beautiful, wild wilderness with animals, just teeming with animals. And now it's like they have parks, just like they have parks here. And anything outside the parks is fair game to be shot and killed by poachers. But that's okay, because Christians are living to die, and it doesn't really matter what state they leave the world in, because Jesus is coming any day now, and then the world will be destroyed anyway, and God will make a new earth and a new heaven, and blah da 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 da. And so the world, it doesn't matter how we treat this world, or how we care for this world, because we're all living to die, and we're in fact looking forward to dying. That's the other thing that I think is a huge harm caused by religion, is the attitude that this life is just, we're in the waiting room, waiting to be seen. It's like, that's what it's like. You go to a Disneyland. Imagine you go to Disneyland, and there's this wonderful park with all these wonderful fun things to do and great things to see, but they only allow so many people in it. So you're in a waiting room, waiting to go in. That's kind of like how religion or religious people view their world, the world, and their life in this world. It's just, well, we're just living, waiting for our big moment to go to this wonderful paradise in heaven. And so, I feel like, how tragic if it's true, if atheists are right, and there's only one life, and we only get one chance to be alive and be part of this magnificent phenomenon that we find ourselves in, the universe. And oh my God, just look up at the night sky and just try to imagine you're looking straight into eternity, and imagine how big this universe is. And this is just one universe. There could be more. And imagine that we're part of if you can see the Milky Way, that's a galaxy, and that galaxy is made up of billions of suns just like ours, and those suns have planets around them too. A lot of them do. It boggles the mind to think of a galaxy and how many stars are in a galaxy. Now expand that there are probably maybe not, I don't know my facts here, but there's lots of galaxies in the universe, okay? Lots of them. I venture to say billions of galaxies. Like there's billions of stars in the galaxy, there's billions of galaxies in the universe. And each galaxy has billions of stars. And each one of those billions of stars has a chance of having planets around it. Oh my God, it's like the universe is so big you cannot even wrap your little human brain around how big it is. And this is our little flicker of getting to be part of this magnificent dance of gravity and forces and power and energy, and we're star stuff, and here's our chance to be living and breathing and looking around in wonder at this phenomenon that we're a part of. It's our one chance. And what do some of us do with our one chance? We look forward to a mythical land that we're going to get to go to after we die. And we spend our lives inside four walls worshiping a being that tells us if we don't love him, we're going to burn forever in hell. And we worship him and love him because we're afraid of him. It's like, what parent wants, I mean, isn't that abuse? Isn't it, if you were looking at human parents that ruled their children that way, wouldn't that be child abuse? I love Dad, but I'm afraid of him because he could punish me terribly if I don't, you know. Anyway, this is getting long, but I saw a video recently on YouTube about somebody had posted some of the detrimental harms caused by religion in society, and a lot of the things I've seen listed are like the Crusades and the witch hunts, you know, and all these things that have, all the atrocities that have come from trying to spread religion, the Inquisition, you know, just all these things. It's like, okay, but there's also modern day examples of what harm religion is doing to our society. Overpopulation. We live in a planet that is so overpopulated with humans that some forward-thinking countries are trying to control how many children their citizens have. While meanwhile, in America, we have billboards advertising the benefits of having twins. There's one in Seattle like that I saw, and they're still debating about whether or not we should allow women to control their bodies and have birth control and end a pregnancy if they don't want to be pregnant. Well, meanwhile, we have overflowing foster care system with children that aren't wanted and get to grow their entire lives, spend their entire childhood in foster care, and we have babies that are not wanted that are born, and I'm sorry, but there's so many kids that don't even have homes. That, well, I didn't have kids. I'm sorry I didn't have kids. I kind of wanted to have kids, but I find comfort in the fact that I have not contributed to the overpopulation problem. Meanwhile, I have people that are supposedly leaders of my country talking about whether or not we should control the birth rate on a planet that's overpopulated. And what are their reasons? Morals, religious morals, ideas that they got from ancient books. You know, and even if you look at those ancient books, if you look at the Bible, it is not pro-life. It is not pro-life. It describes in the Bible in several places that the loss of a fetus is not murder. But people like to wave the Bible around and say that it's God's will that you don't kill any babies. And what is the first thing that God does when he wants to punish somebody in the Old Testament? He kills their kids. He doesn't kill them. He kills their kids. And you want to talk about how pro-life the Bible is? Look at what happened to Job. You know, Christians will say, well, but then Job was rewarded many times over after he went through all this bad stuff to prove to this omnipotent God that he was loyal to him and he would continue to be devout despite all the loss that he suffered. He had all 10 of his children killed. God gave Satan permission to kill Job's kids. 10 kids. And Christians are like, oh, but then after he proved himself, God rewarded him many times over. Oh, are kids replaceable? Is that how it works? God let Job have more kids, and so that made up for the loss of his 10 previous children? How pro-life is that? The children are replaceable. Oh, well, but Job got rewarded in the end. Yeah, he got to watch 10 of his children die, but God made up for it in the end. God must have given him more kids, and that just made up for the loss of those other kids, right? Is that pro-life? Does that show reverence for life? But that's in the Bible, and that's a story that people look at like, oh, this is a good example of a devout and loving follower of God. Okay, and what does that tell us about God and his opinion of kids and his opinion of his followers who are devout? Did he give Satan permission to destroy Job's life? And Job did nothing wrong. I'm sorry, but I don't think the Bible is pro-life, and there's a lot of things in the Bible that do not show that God is for babies, but rather the first thing he does is he commands babies and little children to be killed. So that's all. I think religion is a bad thing. I think that it's a poison. I think that anything it touches, it fills with delusion, and it causes us to behave irresponsibly about the one life we have and the one planet we have. And I think the reason that our planet and our environment is in such chaos is because too many people have the attitude that the planet is disposable and it doesn't matter because we're going someplace better when we die. And the same about our lives too. So anyway, thanks for listening. If you have, I just felt like having a rant, and I wanted to show off my new shirt. So thanks. Bye.